All right, we are live in person with a new setting, new environment. If you guys can't see, don't worry, you'll see my legs in a minute. We're here live in person at the Batch Studio. We've got Landry here live as well. Super exciting stuff. Landry's in town for our Agent Investors Mastermind coming up this weekend. And so we figured why not kill two birds, one stone, and also do the Agent Outreach live show in person together. Landry, how was the flight?
Pretty good. Yeah, it went by fast. I don't like flying for more than like 2 hours, but happy to be here. It's dang hot, but it's nice.
Is it hot in Tennessee right now?
It's humid, but we just got some tornadoes and everything too. So we're like down in the basement.
For sure.
Glad we got over that. So
for sure. And always good to see you and have you in person. I love when we could do the show like this in studio, outside of when Alex throws me a curveball with the setup and doesn't let me wear jeans, but it's fine. This is a live show and literally as raw as it's going to get. The reason we launched Agent Outreach Live was to give everybody an exact blueprint of what Agent Outreach is. And if you don't know what Agent Outreach is, it's a real estate investing strategy, specifically an acquisition strategy, where you're constantly reaching out to real estate agents in order to find opportunities. There's a little bit of a step further that we like to go, which is obviously why you guys are watching the show live, where we like to go a little bit of a step further, showing you what the conversation actually looks like, why I said specific things, and then also getting you to think outside the box. And for those that are tuning in from our real estate school, our real estate investing school, what's up? This Tuesday, we're not doing a Tuesday training in our live school just because there's a lot of moving pieces the week of the event. So I figured today would be kind of a cool experience for us to make it more conversational and valuable with Landry here. She could ask me a bunch of questions. And then if we've got time at the end, let's make some calls together. Specifically, I think it was Jacksonville.
Yep,
cool.
That's right. Yep.
Awesome. So Landry, I don't know if you have anything off the top of your head or if you want me to ramble for a couple minutes to give you a few minutes to come up with a question. But
yeah, I've had a lot of people within the community. If any of you guys are joining specifically from the Batch community, welcome. And if you haven't been here before, I don't know if you can see the chat in this kind of new setup, but we'd love to see if you guys are, also either an agent and investor or, just one or the other, kind of what you're doing. If this is a kind of new path for you, if you're kind of just discovering a little bit. I've had a lot of people on recent community calls be really curious about it. And I when I share the experience that we've had here on the show, I'm like, truthfully, I don't spend any time pulling the list. And every single show, we have a really great conversation. And I was telling the group that I'm like, there's always agents out there that are willing to work with investors. It's a great place to get started. Somebody was asking me what I would do if I was getting started. And I would say, Agent Outreach. Yeah, exactly.
And I love that you said that. I mean, I think that's really the main thing bias-wise with me. Everyone has something to sell. Everybody has an opinion they want to put out there. And the one piece that I've learned over the years, especially since there's so much shiny object syndrome and fluff, I'm just going to stay in my lane. If you go back and look at years and years and years, I've always just stuck to the MLS and working with agents. The only bias you'll hear from me is that I think it's a really good place to start because it's not going to cost you much money.
Yes.
Especially if you guys haven't realized, like the reason I do this show is because we use a tool like Batch, where Batch Leads actually offers us the ability to pull a list of agents. So that's what we do every single week or every single month now at this point, where we're going out and pulling the list from Batch to cold call. Now, with that said, Landry, I know there's a lot of filters and stuff. Maybe it is beneficial for us to pull it up and show everybody quick, really fast.
Get it. Yeah.
While you're joining the link, I'll kind of give everyone an overview. Essentially, with Batch, you can filter out based on how many active listings the agent has, how many deals they've sold in the last 6 months, 12 months, 30 days. The goal being is that you can filter it out so you know exactly what the best list is to contact. I think that's the $1 million question most of the people, especially on Batch Leads channel, are always wondering. What's the best list? What should I do next? Where should I go to skip trace? What exactly do I do to get my next deal the easiest? The best thing to do to get your next deal the easiest way is actually by working with realtors. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to go out there and find the opportunities, but instead it's actually going to allow you the ability to build repeat business with long-term relationships and referrals. So.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about it too. It's the truth behind it. I mean, today when I was preparing the list, I was just telling you that I did a little bit extra because you can do so much more within Batch, where you could go and look at like an MLS tab and see what they've said about their listings. And you can really find out like what's their average listing price, how long do their properties that they have listed sit on the market? Do they have a ton that have expired? Like what are they really doing within their business? And then but you can filter like all of those things out, which is cool. So I can find people that are doing those things a lot easier. So I'm going to share this. And We're going to have to, if I do show you guys anybody, we'll have to have the stuff blurred out. So we might have to pop around a little bit, but we pop this up for you guys. Share screen. There
and brief message for my calves.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Sorry.
It's a good angle. Oh, there we are. Okay, cool. Oops. So yeah, just like Ryan was talking about, this is where basically like when today or anytime I pull these lists, I typically do the same filters where I go and I search the area. Like we'll just do Phoenix, for example. And then you can come in here and do the amount of sold listings in a time period. So you can really find agents that are doing a lot of volume within, a time frame. Was it recent or a longer time ago? Total sold amount, active listings that they have on the market right now, average listing price. And if you're trying to look for a specific agent as well, you can do that, or even by their brokerage. So pretty cool stuff. I usually do like the same 2 filters every single time, like a minimum of 3 active listings or 3 to 5, and then 3 to 5 sold in the past 6 months. That's it.
Beautiful.
It's pretty awesome.
And you kind of dropped like a huge nugget here, but this is kind of like a directory of realtors. Yeah. So you could search up somebody's first name, last name, brokerage, city, state, zip code, and you could find that realtor.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can show that to you guys and just blur this part of the screen out.
That's crazy.
On what that looks like. And like you talked about earlier, you don't have to spend a bunch of money trying to track them down and getting their phone numbers or anything like that. As soon as you search for these agents,
it pops up right there.
Yeah, all their stuff. It's pretty cool. So here, let's do this. And that should be pretty good for the most part. Let me get that last part. But anyway, so you guys can kind of see that down here, or next to all of these people, which we can't show you guys this stuff, but you get all of their direct phone numbers, the office, the brokerage, all that good stuff. And then you can use it as a mini CRM as well. So you can start making notes. A lot of the time, behind the scenes, I'm making the notes on when Ryan has a really great conversation with an agent, if they just don't work with investors and whatever else, So it's nice, especially for people getting started, because it's in one place, so it doesn't make a mess.
And how much does this thing cost?
It's only $99 a month.
$99
includes so many other things like pulling list and batch. So if you are looking for direct to seller leads or cash buyers or managing your data or sending mail or driving for dollars, like the list goes on and on. It's awesome.
If people click on that link down below, batchleads.io/Zolin, you guys can do a free trial. There's also, I hate to give away some secrets, there's going to be some cool discounts and giveaways at the event coming up this weekend. So for those that are attending, be on the lookout. There's going to be some cool discounts. With that, Landry, if there's any other questions, I'm happy to talk about agent outreach and really just try to elaborate a little bit further. But also too, I wanted this one to be conversational so that we can have value for everyone that's listening and watching the replay. And then also, if there's obviously any questions in the comments, please feel free to drop them and we can go through them together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think where we were talking about, a lot of people are curious. I think if we just started out ground zero, how would you start these conversations? Like the main question I have, and a lot of people have, for if they haven't closed a deal, they don't have a portfolio, they don't have any partners that have a
day
portfolio.
One, like this day is
one,
fresh start.
Ground zero. Like, do you start out and be like, hey, and tell the truth and be like, I'm just getting started. Like,
I'm a wholesaler,
right? You know what I mean? Like, what do you say in those very beginning stages?
So we're actually going to take it a step further. We don't do agent outreach to start. The first thing we're going to do is actually going to be finding a buyer. So how do we find a buyer? It could actually still be through a real estate agent. And if I do make calls, that's actually kind of the first one I want to start with, is saying, hey, my name is Ryan. I'm sure you get a lot of calls from investors looking for deals. I'm actually kind of doing the opposite. I'm an investor that has deals sent to me all the time that I don't have the ability to purchase, or I don't have the buyers to purchase the property. Do you happen to work with investors? Their next questions are probably going to be about qualification of your buyer or of their buyers. It's going to be qualification of you as the investor or wholesaler if they don't realize it, where the deal is, how did they get compensated, a lot of things along those lines. So I would find the buyer first. There's tips and tricks on how to qualify them, but really if you could see their last few deals, whether it's tax records, it's referrals, maybe that realtor actually did the deals with them, you have a buyer. Now, like how realtors have clients, imagine if a realtor had no client and they just had to go find houses for someone to buy and get it under contract and then say, who wants this? Realtors would literally not be able to sell anything because it's so opinionated to who wants what deal. And on the investment side, it's a little bit less because it's all about the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing people have to understand is that if you don't have a buyer, how do you even know what to look for?
That is so okay. I mean, that is, hopefully that answers a lot of questions for you guys. That certainly does for me, because, you know, when you start to think about it on day one, like, I don't have any relationships, I don't have anything that I can start these conversations about, and leverage in these conversations with agents. Starting there instead, I'm sure, like pulling a list of buyers on here, or
that's
going
another
to
great
events.
option. Yeah.
I mean, I hear people doing that all the time when they're getting started too, just networking and connecting with people. And being honest with,
imagine like day one, you got a list of sellers. What's your next step? I mean, in my head, I understand how YouTube University became a thing. It's because somebody thought they could skip a step and go direct to seller, or go and start working with other wholesalers, or I could just download a contract or some templates online and now I'm a real estate investor. That's why most people fail. So option one, or reason number one, most people fail is that they start in the wrong path. So some people try to flip first, they try to buy and hold first, they try to bite off more than they could chew. The second is what we're talking about right now, which you don't know where to start. And that's why I think our strategy is the best place to start, is because you're going to make mistakes. I've never seen anybody in real estate in 8 years go, and the very first call they made was perfect. They knocked it out of the park. It was a home run close. Everybody won. I've seen people one call close first deal, but it's usually not like they said everything perfect. It was the hottest lead that they just happened to call, and it was luck of the draw. Right. And then they go 100 next calls without another deal.
Right.
So finding the buyer is the first step. The second, now that we know what our buyer is looking for and they're qualified, now we start talking to realtors, whether it's on market active listings, or if it is off market trying to find a realtor to bird dog. That's what it is for us. Both options work. I just like to lead with value to the realtor by making sure I have all my ducks in a row. So that way, when people ask me questions like, how do you sound so good on the phones? I'm like, it's nothing special. As much as I wish I could get up here and say it's a XYZ. No, it's called experience. It's the reps.
Yes.
I did enough of the calls and I've gotten cussed out enough direct to seller to understand and appreciate how valuable realtors are. I cross my T's, dot my I's, and then from there, the relationship with them is a little bit more organic and easy to work with.
So good. Plus, I mean, I think that's another really big thing with getting started. You don't know where to look in general. And I think it's a huge piece, whether, you know, you guys are going to be doing agent outreach or going direct to seller. You need to know what areas people like, what properties people are looking for, what they would pay for properties, so that you know what to do when you run your numbers. I think it's important in general to find the buyer, because that's going to be
that's step number one. And
property, so.
Once you do that, you do the agent outreach. The next piece after that, I'm going to try my best to literally give the full circle and value here. You have to make mistakes, which isn't just making calls, it's making offers. So once you have the realtors on the phone, if you notice about a lot of the times when I call the realtor, if it's an active listing, it's to see if the first off, the property is still available.
Yeah.
Second, if it's not this one, it's the next one. So if it's an off-market opportunity, hey, Mr. or Miss Realtor, I have like a 30 to 45 day deadline that I need to get something under contract. Is that realistic? Yes or no? The realtors that start sending me stuff more, the only catch here, you have to be responsive. So as you're talking to a lot of these agents and building the relationship, there's this natural sense of, honesty, that you can tell them, I might wholesale this deal. Here's how I got my numbers. Here's how you did good. And here's how we could improve next time. That's all a realtor wants. Can you imagine being a realtor that not only doesn't know what your client's doing because they're not being 100% honest, but now the realtor's spending time looking for properties, submitting offers, and making calls. And this investor doesn't even tell the realtor what they're trying to accomplish.
Yes.
Every realtor we work with knows that we're going to possibly wholesale. And also it helps that in Arizona, we have a wholesale disclosure. So they see in our documentation that we might wholesale this deal. So there's never that sense of, wait a second.
Like, oh, I didn't catch that on the phone when you said that. Like, I don't remember you saying that. Like, it's right there in writing.
Yep.
It can't be missed, and if it is,
find a buyer, talk to agents, make mistakes, submit offers.
Love it.
That's it.
That's awesome. No, I think that that's a really big piece of it in anything that you're doing in real estate, is the getting started step. And I know that a lot of people say, I don't want to start with finding buyers. I just feel like I need to find the deal first and then go to them. And I know a lot of people do it that way, but
no.
I mean, I see it all the time where you could go to Facebook right now and somebody's like,
there's 20 deals out there. But the problem, especially in Arizona, we're like the mecca of real estate investors. There's no way possible that I could go to a disposition wholesalers list right now. I could do it on this live. I'll go to a disposition wholesaler list. I'll find an address. That address is only on their list. In Arizona, it is on everybody's list because people are known to daisy chain. You're not providing value. You get something where you get it under contract and then you're relying on hope to get it sold. And then it gets sold to someone that sells it to someone, sells it to someone, so on. Or even worse, you try working with wholesalers to start and everybody's lying to each other. Nothing's honest. And next thing you know, deals are falling apart left and right. And there's some of the most complicated transactions to do.
Yeah. Would you say that, do you do kind of a mix with like, should people focus on, in your opinion, like just doing agent outreach, or should they be kind of doing a mix of submitting offers on the MLS as well, as they're kind of getting going?
Great question. We have like a 60-40 scale. So usually how I reference this with people inside agent investors is that our scale can at any time change. Usually it's 60% effort into MLS offers. So our main KPI every day is to get a certain amount of offers submitted. The second part of that, the 40%, is agent outreach. Naturally, we're going to talk to agents as we're submitting offers, but then if we have free time, follow up with the realtors that we've done deals with in the past. That 60-40 scale can fluctuate, change depending on your preference, business model, or the economy. For example, 2022 to 2023, when things started flipping on us, we all of a sudden jumped to agent outreach being our primary strategy. And we had a lot of success working with realtors rather than we were on the MLS.
I see.
So usually it kind of jumps back and forth. The main thing is it's not 50-50. You have to pick one of those two, make it your priority. And for us, it's usually the MLS.
I see. Okay. And when you guys are submitting those offers, are you doing like, what is it called? The letter of intent?
Letter of intent, LOI? Yeah.
LOI.
We stopped doing that a few months ago. We're using some tools and resources to send automated purchase contracts. And so we're usually sending out anywhere from, Brandon's here, 20 to 30 offers per day.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. So that's good to know, kind of just having a little bit of a mix. It's not like you need to do just one or the other. You're starting these conversations, seeing if agents have something that they run into that might be 100%. A good fit for you. But 100%. Then, not giving up on things that are already listed right there.
And it's a numbers game. I don't care if you're going to contact 100 leads if you're a realtor. I don't care if you're going to contact 100 sellers if you're a direct-to-seller investor. I don't care if you're going to contact 100 realtors in our strategy or submit 100 offers. All of them take time, and it's a certain number that it's going to take to get that deal. I think Brent Daniels says this very well, but he was breaking down a deal to someone on a live show that we had once done. And it was like, well, if I were to give you $500 an hour every time you were to make a call for an hour straight, I wouldn't be able to get you off the phone because you'd be getting a $500 an hour. That's essentially what we're doing. We just don't get paid every hour. We're getting paid in delayed gratification. But when you break down the amount of effort and work it actually took you to get that deal, 9 times out of 10, the average like hourly wage is like $500 to $1,000 for real estate wholesaling. So that's what I look at every time, it's tough. You wake up, you don't have something under contract. It just takes one. That one deal, it could get you 10K, or in some cases, 50, 60, $100,000 or more. That's a life-changing check. So that's the kind of stuff that you could do with this strategy, which then leads to you having money in the bank, which then leads to you being able to make better educated decisions rather than leaps of faith and hope that the next strategy will work.
That's a good way to look at it. Like, we all are looking for that instant gratification.
Amazon.
Especially nowadays with everything that's so accessible. But when you start to break it down that way, like if I was getting paid for this call right now, which you will, if you keep going, it's like the analogy or whatever you'd want to call it it's in the book, Think and Grow Rich. It talks about how when the man that gets to the end of the tunnel, like if he would have just gone like,
kept going.
Like right there was.
That's really what it is. I mean, I always use the analogy too of like mining for gold. The amount of people that walk away when they're this close to the diamond is like, oh, like
it's right there. Like right when you're there at the peak of it being so difficult. If you just keep going, it's like something that everybody talks about. If you just push forward, it's right there.
So this is the hard part too. And this is a bold take. It seems like every time I do a live show, I'm like this close to being canceled. So,
oh my gosh.
My bold take is that the reason most people take 6 to 12 months to get their first deal is because they're listening to too many gurus on the internet. I should go do this. I should go do that. If I do this, just this one way or this one time, or even what if I added all of them together and then I was like multi-valuable where I had all these different tools on the tool belt, but you've done less than 5 deals total, or maybe even haven't done your first deal yet.
Right.
Again, my point of being aggressive there is that this is the best place to start because you're going to make mistakes no matter what. I would rather you make a mistake with something that costed time rather than something that costed money.
Yeah. Another thing that I see too, and I think it's so true. It's just one of those things that you don't think about or realize until you start looking at yourself in the mirror. It's true for all of us that they say that people accomplish less when they start talking about all these plans. Like, I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to actually start this business. You know what? Tomorrow I'm actually going to do this. But it was this study that's done that it's enough. It makes you feel good enough to tell somebody, because naturally you're going to say, that's great. That's awesome. You are going to do that. And then you go to bed the next day, you're like, yeah, I feel good because they told me that I'm going to do a good job.
And then the worst part is, like,
it's crazy.
Taking it a step further, what happens after that? Your friends, your family, your significant other, your support systems, they've been told by you that you're going to do something, but they haven't seen the results. So whenever I talk to someone, they're like, well, cycle. My spouse doesn't agree with this, or my friends think I'm an idiot for this. And I'm like, well, because you haven't proven them wrong. I mean, right now, all you've done is tell them you're going to do something and you haven't actually done it.
You have to practice, like, almost keeping it to yourself. You're like, if I'm serious about doing this,
just do it.
I'm going to just try to do it and not tell everybody about it, 100%. Which is pretty crazy.
100%.
So I did want to ask you too, for anybody that is kind of their ground zero, how would you start those conversations with the buyers? Like, would you, before reaching out to agents, would you make sure that you've discussed with that buyer what their portfolio looks like and told them, hey, I'm also connecting with agents? Like, what does that look like, so that, when you're on those conversations and you're like, hey, I can send you over a portfolio, I'm guessing that not everybody.
We have like a folder or stuff. Yeah.
Like,
I think
be able to do that, but
the key thing, regardless if it's buyers, agents, other wholesalers, it's intention. What you have to do when you're building these relationships is not only being honest to them, it's expecting them to be honest to you. And a lot of that, even though people can lie, it's how you set the expectation and how you frame it. So with what we do, my intention is to call a buyer in this conversation. So if I'm calling a buyer, I'm ideally making sure that I've already pulled their records from tax records. I've pulled them from batch leads. I've pulled them from a list of my realtors that have worked with other investors in the last 30, 45, 60 days. So when I'm calling, I have an address of a property they've actually purchased recently that I could say, it looks like you bought a property out here on 123 Main Street. I'm actually working on a few things that are in the same area. I was just curious, are you looking to buy another? So now I don't need to ask the question of, can I see your last few deals, because I'm looking at one. And if I could see that they bought this property recently, and if there's a realtor involved, even better. Now I have two relationships to go and work with and follow up with the buyer and or the realtor, or both.
Okay. Love that. That's awesome. Where's everybody? I'm kind of curious. I don't know what we're kind of seeing in the chat here, but what's everybody doing in terms of, has anybody been doing this strategy that hasn't before, or have you guys been thinking about it? Like, who's kind of starting to break into making calls to agents or submitting offers?
Let us know. And also too, if you guys want us to make some calls, we've got a list. I'm ready to go. We wanted to make this interactive and fun for everybody and make it conversational. But if you guys just want me to make some calls, I will smile and dial all day long. Michael said, block out the negative noise, 100%. Shout out to Michael. He's one of our agent investors members. The dude is an absolute beast. Thanks for the value. What's up, dude? Any questions you got? If not, Andrew, I'm ready to call some people.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it. Great.
And so I said earlier, I was going to try to a different approach. Landry, just for context, this list you pulled, 3 to 5 active listings or sold listings?
This one I actually did a little bit different, and I was looking for, a lot of the time, based on some of our previous calls, when you're telling the agents around the price range of what you're kind of looking for, I think I did a price range, their average listing price around like 250 to 500, or maybe a little bit less.
And was there any keywords or anything specific, or was this one just like the agent outreach tab?
Yeah, just the regular agent outreach tab in that same section that I was showing you guys earlier. I might have put on one other filter, like a couple sold in the previous months, but should be a pretty good list. So
let's rock and roll. Let's call Gary. And this is in Tampa. No, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, yes.
Calling Gary. Or attempting to.
90.
Double dial. I think his phone is off. All right. We're calling Dana. And first number is the office, or the second number?
First is their personal, and then second is office.
Dana Lewis, can I help you?
Hey, Dana. My name's Ryan. I'm trying to find an agent out in Jacksonville that could help me with purchasing a property.
Okay, Brian, are you a buyer or are you an investor?
both. I don't know if there's a difference. I'm an investor. I'm trying to purchase a property. I don't have one specific. I'm licensed in Arizona, but just trying to find someone that's licensed in Jacksonville that could assist us.
Okay, how can I help you?
Honestly, kind of at the starting point. Jacksonville is a market that I've been eyeing down for a while, and I figured I would just take a little bit of time and call some agents and introduce myself, see if there was possibly a match that we could work together. I'm not looking to waste anybody's time or anything. I just need a little bit more help getting familiar with the area, figuring out what the good deals are to buy. And then obviously, if we can work together, I would love for you to be our agent and represent us, and we don't need to take any kind of referral fee or anything on the commission.
Okay, as an investor, are you aware of the new laws going into place in July, August?
You're referring to the commission?
Referring to buyer brokerage agreements?
Yeah, commission being paid by the buyers, correct?
Yes, and as far as exclusivity, however you say that, to where you guys would work with one realtor. So you sign, like how you sign a listing agreement, you would sign a buyer's agreement as well. So as of July and August, just letting you know, I get calls from investors literally daily. If they're not calls, they're text, and they say different things, and then they all end up saying the same thing. They just are calling around a bunch of agents trying to see if they can find a deal, but they're not loyal to that. So in return, realtors don't like working with those kind of investors because you're working with 50 other agents. So
Sure.
Now, whenever I find deals, I do sometimes save investors' numbers and just shoot out emails. Hey, by the way, I got this coming up. But those deals are not happening that much right now. I'm sure that's why I'm getting so many calls. So I don't have anything at the moment. But if you want to text me information, I will save your number, and then something comes up, I'll let you know. I don't really work in Jacksonville. I mean, I will, but that's really not my area of expertise.
What's your area of expertise?
Putnam County, Clay County, St. John's.
Okay. Gotcha. And also too, on the exclusivity thing, just so you know, I don't have any issue with that. My point here isn't to waste anybody's time. I do have friends in Florida that are licensed. And so, I mean, as long as in the exclusive agreement, it said if this person brings me a deal that you're not going to expect a commission to be paid for something that they brought me, then that's fine with me.
Yeah, I don't know how I actually was on a webinar this morning with the Florida realtors. I'm not sure how they're going to word it to where for investors in that situation, how that's going to work. Because technically I'm not showing you a home. Sure.
Would you have any issue in that case? I mean, I don't know why that would be an issue, but I just want to make sure that wouldn't be with you.
Yeah, no, I don't have, honestly.
That's not called exclusive.
It gets a little annoying, to be honest, when I get so many calls and they're just.
You could just block them all and save my number. Like, I'm not going to be upset or anything. And like I said, I'm not looking to waste anyone's time. I'll put down non-refundable earnest money. I like an inspection period, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is I think a lot of you guys are hoping for like those $30,000-$40,000 deals that are almost impossible to find.
What do you mean 30 to 40? Like the purchase price?
Yeah. Like,
oh God, no. I mean, I'm looking like up to $500,000. We've got hard money lenders. I mean, if you want, I'm more than happy to connect you with any of our people. Cedric's one of my good buddies over at our hard money lending company. We are first name basis, and my company buys a lot of deals with them. I'm always trying to use other people's money, but I mean, we've got a folder of deals we flipped in the past. I'm more than happy to send you our portfolio in Arizona. I'm just trying to branch out to some different markets and didn't really know where else to start. So I figured I would just call another real estate professional.
So are you not a wholesaler?
We've wholesaled in the past, but that's not really what I'm looking to do here. I'm trying to flip more of these deals.
Are you a fixer? Or you just I mean, what do you typically do when you buy them?
Lipstick remodels. I got caught in 2022 flipping more than what I should have, multi-million-dollar houses. So now we pretty much like to do carpet paint. Every once in a blue moon, we'll change some windows, but remodel like to keep it a little bit more on the lipstick side.
Okay. All right. Yeah, send me your information.
Was there anything that I could do on my end too, just to kind of, I guess I didn't know that there's a lot of people calling a bunch of realtors and stuff. Is there anything like you need from me or anything that I could do to kind of make you feel better about like what it is that we do and our services?
No, I mean, honestly, it's just putting a face with the name because it is so automated now, and the calls and the texts are just so much.
And also, I mean, here's another thing too. I mean, if you're getting a lot of texts from people that are wholesalers, like I said, I've wholesaled in the past, and if I were to ever wholesale a deal, you're the first person I'm going to call, and I will tell you that before. Most of the time, I don't think that really works in this case. I want to build a relationship based off of like us closing and showing you how we work. From there, yeah, let's do multiple deals together. And any of the wholesalers that are texting you, if you want to send me those deals that they bring to you, I'm assuming most of the people reaching out probably don't have deals, which is why they're asking a realtor to help. That's an easy way to eliminate them. I have a number of deals that are always sent over to me in multiple states. They're just too tight, and most of the wholesalers' numbers don't actually work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I do get. I mean, I think I had one last year that unfortunately, I just think it was bad timing. It was actually a family member. The house needed paint, and not a lot of paint, just like bedrooms. It needed new flooring in the bedrooms because they had terrible looking carpet. And the only thing that it really majorly needed was the drywall finished in the bathroom because they started redoing the bathroom and they didn't finish it. Started going through a divorce.
Oh, wow.
So that would have been a good one, honestly. Like, I don't even consider buying it. But then she took it off the market because she kept getting such low offers. So she took it off the market, and I think she's decided to stay there for at least a little while.
Is this someone that you said was a family member or a family friend?
Yes, it's a family member.
I mean, what I would be open to doing too, just to kind of show you how fast we work. If you wanted to send me over the address, I promise you I'm not going around or anything like that, but I'd be more than happy to break down my numbers on how I get to my purchase price. So that way it kind of shows you what we do in our process. I'm more than transparent on everything we do, and I don't want, again, to waste anyone's time. So maybe those lowball offers were actually probably around where most investors need to be. And if anything, maybe if my offer is higher, you could go back to her and see if she's open to taking it.
Yeah, I'll give you the old listing. I'll give you the address. You can pull the old listing. The pictures that are on there are when she bought it a couple years ago.
Okay.
And really, it could look just like that again. It's just, again, she started redoing the bathroom and didn't finish.
Okay, that's fine.
The outside needs to be pressure washed, and the inside, she painted weird colors.
This is crazy.
This is great.
It's just not good standing in the bedrooms. So
sure. Okay.
that is replaced.
Okay. Yeah.
Easy stuff, and a lot of people just can't see past that.
Well, and I get that on the traditional side. If someone's looking to buy it as a primary home, they want to move into something move-in ready. They don't want to deal with a bunch of maintenance and renovations, especially if they're paying a super high interest rate right now. They probably can't afford it. So yeah, I get it. That's why we come into play, and we're here basically trying to make it as easy as possible for everybody. Those that are super easy remodels, something like this you're talking about where flooring's ripped up and maybe a little bit of cosmetic stuff, I'll typically pay at least $5,000 to $10,000 higher than most investors would.
Okay, and then what about manufactured homes? I get those often in my area too.
I'm not opposed to it. My biggest thing with that is as long as that it's financeable and the land is owned, I'm good.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would
Mobile homes are kind of tough. I'm not opposed to it. If it's a really hot area and you got a good deal, look, if it's higher than $500,000, I'll rob a bank. Okay. Like, we'll find the money. That's not ever an issue on my end. It's just a matter of finding the good deals. And that's where, actually, just to be honest, that's part of the reason why we're expanding out of Arizona. I have a lot of friends that also flip in Florida. And, we always want to talk about how to find deals. It seems like a lot of them spend tens of thousands of dollars a month in marketing to the sellers. I've always worked well with other realtors, and I have friends that are licensed. So if I could work with a realtor, I'd rather do that. And I'm also trying to make it like one relationship, like you said earlier. So it sounds like you and I are kind of on the same wavelength, and I think that we'd be a great fit to work together. My biggest thing is always communication and making sure that we're efficient and, again, not wasting your time.
Right. Where are your other agents at in Florida?
They're in Tampa. They're trying to get me to go to that market, but Jacksonville is just a little bit cheaper price point, and so I figured I'd kind of dip my toes in the water into a cheaper price point than Tampa.
Yeah, and Putnam County is a little bit less expensive than even Jacksonville. I mean, it is starting to come up, which is crazy. But you can find better deals, I feel like.
What's her name?
Some of the deals
It's Dana.
Dana?
Mm-hmm.
The west side area.
First call.
You have to be careful because those will just sit on the market.
Is there properties that are sitting on the market right now?
Yeah, properties are starting to sit again. So
do you think it'd be crazy if like we submitted an offer on those properties, or do you think that they're not willing to budge too much on the price?
So I think that people are starting to come down. I just think it's taking them a little bit longer to realize. Everyone's like, oh, the prices are going up, and well, that's great, but if they gotta sell. So like
right.
I just got an market update, and I was briefly looking at it yesterday, and it just basically said home sale prices are going up in Florida, and inventory is going up, and the homes that sold are going down. So what does that tell you?
Wow.
Buyer's market is coming.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Do you think there's going to be a rate drop this year?
They claim that there is, but I don't know. I think that there will be around the election.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think too. And that's why I'm also trying to, stay a little bit more on the lipstick cosmetic remodel side. I don't really want to touch anything too crazy just in case the market does change or something drastic does happen. I'm not going to get caught with my pants down.
Right. I mean, again, like we could always go to war. Things could always happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't think anything crazy is going to happen this year. But I do think that that homes are going to continue to start sitting more. I don't think that prices are going to drop so much like 2017. Mm-hmm. That would be nice. That's when everybody was happy in 2017.
Rates were cheaper, prices were going down. Everyone's kind of riding the waves.
Yeah, the sellers were happy. They were getting, what they thought what the home was worth back then, until they got spoiled. And
she tried to get me off the phone like 2 minutes into the conversation.
You got her.
I'm like,
everyone's a little spoiled right now. Now it's the unbrainwashing.
Right. And let me ask you, just kind of curious, is like the traditional like helping people buy and sell, is that like really active out there, or are you kind of seeing that slow down a little bit too?
With realtors, you mean?
Yeah. I'm asking how motivated she is to working with us.
I have been definitely slower with buyers lately. And I don't know if it's more so because of
it's the rates.
What's going on with the lawsuits.
It's the rates.
I'm not really sure.
It's the rates.
Because I know homes are selling, maybe not as much.
It's just affordability. That's all this is.
I have my deals, like I have a little bit of a niche. I do a little bit of new construction.
There we go.
Which is not very common. So I'm usually, pretty protected as far as the market. When the market goes down, I'm still usually doing pretty good. But I have definitely seen a decline in the last couple of weeks. At least I have two that are about to close. And one is an investor who's buying it for a flipper, or not for a flipper, for a rental. And honestly, I don't think he's getting that great of a deal. I've tried getting the seller down multiple times on things, and we've, threatened to walk away multiple times, but the buyer continues to want to buy it. So we're still in a contract.
Was this on the MLS or where was this deal?
It was on the MLS. So we acted pretty quick. Now I will tell you that this home, it's under contract. It was like 180 something thousand. And we did get it under asking. But I had another investor that bought a home a few months prior, and it was like 140, and it was way nicer.
Wow.
So I don't know.
I guess if you're buying and holding though, usually you're looking for at least 20% equity. So if he had that, it might have been a good enough deal for him, or sometimes depending on what the return is that they're looking for, buying and holding could be an opportunity if you had some money that you needed to park to offset some taxes or to allocate other people's funds. So maybe that was something along those lines. But that's awesome. If you're already working with an investor like that, most buy and hold investors will probably pay a little bit more than a fix and flipper, just because they're holding it long term. They don't need the cash out now.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. Is there anything that maybe I didn't cover, or anything that I didn't mention about myself that maybe you wanted more information on? I'm, like I said, an open book. I just want to make sure by the end of the conversation, like, we're comfortable that we could work together, and whatever the next steps are, I'm happy to follow. I just want to make sure that obviously if any of my friends in Tampa found a good deal or something that I did buy, that exclusivity would be specific to the deals that you bring us.
Yeah. So, you are only looking for flips. You're not looking for any kind of rentals or passive income like that, right?
I would be open to it. We always are trying to buy at least a couple rentals a year just to offset some taxes. I haven't bought anything to hold inside like the Florida market yet, but I'm not opposed to it. I mean, if you found a really good deal and you felt like the cash flow made sense, typically how I run my numbers, I want to be like a low side 8% return, more often 9-10%. I mean, they're harder to find nowadays, but just kind of depends. We also do a lot of lending, so if we can't find a rental, we can just park our money over there.
Okay. I'm just trying to think if I have anything.
Did she send you the address?
Thank you. If you could just send me over that address or the MLS number or whatever it is, or Zillow, Redfin link, I could look that up, and then I'm happy to give you an answer within the next couple of minutes. I can even break down, like, we have a calculator on how we go through and we get all of our numbers. Happy to share that with you, so that way you've got a copy of how we do our business.
Yeah, I'll give you the address right now if you'd like. It's 36.
What was the city?
Palatka, Palatka.
Palatka. Okay. Is that area like appreciating pretty well right now?
Yeah, it is. I think if we were to put that one back on the market, it probably would sell pretty quick. Again, it's, cleaning the house up and making it a little bit more presentable as far as getting this stuff out too.
Cool.
Would help.
Awesome. She's looking for help with getting some of that stuff out, you said?
No, she just needs to get her personal stuff out.
Okay.
It just doesn't show very well.
Cool. Well, let me take a look at that property. I'll look at some of the photos, and then I will get back to you within the next couple of minutes. If there's anything else you need from me, this is my direct cell, so you can give me a shout, text me, call me. More than happy to take a look at any property and give you a number that we could pay for it, and then hopefully we can get something under contract. My goal, I don't know if it's crazy or not, would be within the next 30 to 45 days. I mean, worst case, within the next couple of months. But that's kind of what we're hoping to accomplish.
Okay, I will keep you in mind. Just send me your information.
Awesome. Thanks, Dana. I really appreciate it.
All right, have a good day.
You too. Bye. We went from no way, Jose, to I got an address. So
I thought that was so good. The way that you were like, hey, like, is there anything else that you need from me to essentially assure you?
How are we looking? So. All right. And as I mentioned too, the feedback, the communication goes both ways. What I'm going to do here, luckily Brandon's here. We can comp the property, and I can give her a number of what we can pay, breaking it all down and educating her on how our number is what it is.
So awesome.
So,
I mean, these agents, I mean, even if that doesn't work out, it's still
that was my second call.
Oh yeah. Who was it?
That's just crazy. Like the first one went right to voicemail. Oh, yeah. So this was this was the very first call, really. I mean, if you want to get technical, I dialed 2 people. The first one went to voicemail twice, so their phone was off. First one that actually dialed and went through, answered, and she sent us an address, and she said that she got a property under contract that's selling to a buy and hold investor, and that she gets calls like this all the time. And she was just about to say, just send me information, whatever. And it transitioned to a conversation where she sent me an address.
So good. That was awesome. I think the transparency and having a real conversation where you're not sounding just like everybody else that she's probably used to, like, oh yeah, I'll send you my info, getting off the phone, but not building and having a deeper discussion. You're going to stand out in her mind compared to other people that's, stayed on the phone with her for 20 seconds.
100%.
So
this guy's got it.
That was awesome.
I got the real estate Riz. That's what it is.
Yes.
It's exactly what it is. Thank you, Master Acquisition. I could not have said it better myself.
Love that.
We got like 15 minutes. Honestly, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to call a bunch of people. They're not going to answer, and it's not going to top that call I just had.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Let's take 10, 15 minutes and just finish up with some more questions, thoughts. And then if there's anyone that has any comments that they want to put in the comments they want to put, feel free, and we'll go through it together. Landry, let's talk about the upcoming event this weekend. Super exciting stuff. Again, I appreciate you flying out, being here, supporting, and just being a part of the event.
Of course.
We've got a lot of cool, exciting things. So if you guys are local in the Arizona market and you guys are wanting to come and hang out and attend, there's a couple general admission tickets left. So just let us know, DM us on school, DM us on social media, comment here. We'll have someone on the team reach out, but there's only a couple general admission tickets left. We're going 9 to 5 from Friday and Saturday with private dinners Friday and Saturday night. Saturday night is just to our VIP members. And then obviously we're hosting it here. We've got upstairs, the Batch venue. I was actually just checking it out before the live show, and it is unbelievable.
I'm so excited.
We've got almost 100 people flying in from all across the country that are here, licensed agents or investors wanting to learn more about doing deals on the MLS and working with agents. And then, obviously we've got some really cool powerhouse speakers. We've got Steve Trang. We've got Brent Daniels. We've got my buddy Vic, who does dispositions nationwide. We've got a number of some really heavy hitter speakers that I'm looking forward to even watching myself and taking some notes.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. I think it's going to be a great group, and I'm looking forward to getting to see it all.
For sure. For sure. And my main thing of saying that was to let people know that you don't need to come to an event in order to find success. You need to find what is your why, and you need to find the willingness and motivation to do it every single day. I want to be transparent. That call, super cool, right? That's an agent that, for those that know, that's a tier 2. Actually, if we want to get technical, that's really a tier 3 realtor. So this is someone that jumped tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 in one conversation with me where she sent me an actual address and potential opportunity. That's the name of the game. That's the kind of realtors I want to work with. And right now we've got 53 realtors that are VIPs in our database, which means we should be able to get at least 1 or 2 deals with them this year. That's 50 to 100 transactions a year where I'm getting inbound opportunities rather than having to go and do outbound calls and outreach like what I just did. So words of inspiration, that's a season. The inbound is the lifestyle. That's what we build with this business model. And then from there, you get some money in the bank, do whatever you want. Fix and flip, buy and hold, development, multifamily, creative finance, commercial, traditional real estate, direct to seller, any of the above after we have active income done. Active income equals acquisitions. That's what we teach.
Yeah, especially when you have so many tools that, like we preach every single time, when you don't have to take hours to build up this custom list and put it on a spreadsheet yourself. Literally, it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but Dana, I found in 30 seconds.
Literally. And that was the second person on the list. So a lot of times, if you want to call it luck, you want to call it skill, you want to call it whatever, it's about doing the reps. I wouldn't have called Dana today if I didn't have Agent Outreach Live. I wouldn't have called Dana today if I didn't have Landry pulling a list from Batch Leads. That's the kind of difference of actually being efficient in your business and knowing what you're trying to accomplish actually does make the difference. So with all that said, agent outreach is a beautiful thing. It's an ability to be able to go and get inbound opportunities sent to you by a realtor. The main thing I want to make a note of from that last call, she was about to hang up on me.
Oh yeah.
Like she was like, oh, just send me information.
Yeah. She's like, I'm just going to say the same thing I tell everybody to do.
Did you catch what I said there?
Yeah. I feel like you were trying to drag her back in with a reassurance of like, basically, how can I reassure you that I am who I say I am, and I can, back what I'm telling you.
Correct.
Right now.
And there was one thing that I said that I didn't love where I was like, look, I'm not wholesaling. I might wholesale, but if my intention is to flip, which by the way, the $1 million question is people are like, well, how do you know your intention? Did we not find our buyer first? What's our buyer going to look to do? Our buyer is going to look to flip. So if our buyer's trying to flip the property, our intention is to flip the property. I work for my buyers. That's how this relationship works. So I don't like playing the whole, it's not how you say it or whatever game. That's what this is. But with that said, I also told her 2 minutes later, look, I do wholesale. I have wholesaled in the past. And if I am going to wholesale, you are the first person I'm going to let know.
Yes. You'll be transparent.
Transparent.
Yeah.
So
and it depends on what the property. And
I definitely, I reeled her back in. I had to find my way. But the thing that I thought she was looking for was difference. Yeah. So if you guys are using virtual assistants, do you think they would have handled that call? Promise you, no way. No way they would have handled that. You can handle that. And I'm talking to everybody watching this live or the recording. This is something that you can do too. Just picking up the phone and calling the realtors. At the end of the day, again, this isn't a secret sauce. The more you call, the more comfortable you get. And if it makes you feel any better at all, I get so anxious every time I call. Even that call right there, I was like, they're going to answer and they're going to hate me and they're not going to have properties and I'm going to waste my time and I'm not going to do it. And then sometimes you just got to suck it up and do it. You got to do the things that suck and it gets easier.
I think that's something that a lot of people don't talk to. I mean, I even get like that with making a call to somebody about like their account to check in that I know they're going to be nice. And I'm like,
they like paid you to like, for help. And you're like, they're going to,
my like heart's racing. I'm like, this isn't going to go great at all. It's just a regular conversation, but I think we forget that and everything. One thing with that, as we're kind of nearing the end here, for anybody that doesn't know, when they are looking at, like when we come back to this topic of being efficient and using tools to help you along the way, how many calls should somebody aim to make? How many conversations, things like that would you, because you have a nice steady kind of database of these realtors. So how long did it take you to build?
It took me a couple of years. Honestly, to get the first deal was in my first month. Literally was calling agents. It was crazy. 12, 14 hours a day, got something 30K. With that, it took me years to get up to the point of 50 agents to be able to say with confidence that they'll bring me deals. Conversations, I don't love that KPI, that metric as much as I like the offers. Offers minimum, non-negotiable 5 at least. 5 offers a day. I used to say like an offer a day keeps the 9 to 5 away. Welcome to 2024, 5 offers a day. Probably just barely pays your bills. So 5 bills, 5 deals. Yeah, no, we got to definitely get some more deals closed. So how do you do that? It's by making more offers. 5 offers a day, minimum is 25 a week, is 100 per month. That should get you at least 1, maybe 2 deals per month. If you're submitting at least 10 offers per day, I mean, you can do the math on that. It's 200, possibly if you're working every day, 300 offers in the month. That's how you get closer to that 4, 5, 6 plus deals per month. And then after that, just like everything sales, and part of the reason I like our strategy more than direct to seller, we get repeat business. That realtor right there, if I close and I actually perform on a deal, what do you think she's going to do the next time she has a deal?
She's going to think of you.
I even made a joke. Just block all the other numbers. Don't worry. I'm not going to be upset. I won't tell them, or take their deals and bring it to me. That's how you teach these realtors. A lot of times I call this patience and education. That's patience and education. I took a deep breath and I understood that I could have been mad at the situation. I could have just said, yep, I'll give you my information, hang up, and I'm on to the next. No. She is a great person, a great realtor. She answered her phone. That's all I could ever ask. And she was willing to hear me out. That's who I want to work with.
Yeah, exactly. I think that that's huge to be able to, you can probably tell after all of the experience you've had as well, if it's somebody that's worth keeping on the phone.
For sure.
So it's like, you could tell that you could probably take it into a different direction, compared to other conversations that you have.
That's all it is. If they're willing to be open-minded, hear me out, work with me, listen to what I have to say, why wouldn't you want to work with that person? I don't care if they have 10 listings. I don't care if they have no listings. If they are willing to listen to you and work with you. She even tried challenging me. She's like, well, what about the exclusivity? I'm like, okay, Dana, it's fine. And your broker probably can't say the word either, which is why you're mispronouncing it. The exclusivity is that we are going to work with you for the deals that you exclusively bring to me. Because I'm not an idiot. If she has a deal that it's a listing or even a property brought to her, do you think that she's going to send it to just me?
No.
Or do you think she's going to send it to all of her clients?
That's why I thought it was perfect the way you said that. Like, instead of saying, well, if you don't bring it, then obviously it's not going to go with you. You took it to
I have friends in Florida.
If they bring it to me,
why would you get paid?
Bring it to
why would you get paid?
Exactly. I think that really brings it front of mind. And
people relate to stories. So if you can give them, and this isn't a made up story, I have plenty of friends in the Tampa market. Shout out Sean Castro, Eric Diaz, plenty of people, all members and agent investors. But I could call up a few people and be like, yo, you got any deals? They would say yes. If I bought a deal from my friend that might have gotten it brought to them by a realtor. Do I pay Dana on the deal that she has no idea about? Absolutely not. So the only thing I did in that example was I referenced that my friends are in different cities. If I have a friend that also brings me a deal in Jacksonville, it's the same principle. I just didn't want it to feel like I'm stepping on her toes by saying, well, it might be in the same market. And then she even was like, well, there's plenty of people that work with so many realtors. How many clients do you work with? How many clients would you work with is what I should say, because the answer is as many as you could get.
Yeah.
And so I asked her,
same thing for you.
How's business? Oh, well, it's slower. Okay, cool. So now I know that you're not closing deals. You have no clients. You want me to work exclusive for you. What do you bring to the table? You don't even have a deal. In this case, she did.
Yeah.
But the goal is that we can have that happen. We could close it. Worst case scenario, they don't have something, which is most often. Then it's the follow-up. How often do you follow up with them? Depends on which tier we put them in agent investors. And then our follow-up kind of is automated. It does what it's supposed to. It follows up with them every however often. And then once they respond, it triggers a next step or response. And then we just keep at it.
Oh, yeah, that's really helpful too. You're going to have so many different conversations and so many different data points that you're bringing in that you have to have something.
Process.
Yeah. Something
as I started going contacting realtors, there came a point where I was like, I have like 200 and I can't even remember them anymore. Like,
you're like, I don't know who conversation.
Who am I supposed to call again? Or I'm like, there was that guy, he's a Braves fan.
I was going to ask you about this too, because sometimes on here, like I have some old accounts and I'm like, okay, did we call that guy? I don't know. So I was going to ask you too, has that ever happened to you where you call somebody like the first time?
You should ask Brandon how many times I call someone and I'm on camera with him and I'm like, who am I calling? I think I actually did that here. I was just like, I'm like, who is this again? Like,
you
I don't.
Their number in your phone. It was saved in your phone. I was like,
I do that every time. I don't know. This is how I also partially get over the limiting belief in the mindset stuff. If I sit there and think about it too much, I won't do it.
Yeah.
So
it's like, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Just call. Hey, Nick, my name is John. Oops, my bad. Hey, John, this is Ryan. Apologize. Must have had your name saved as the wrong number. Moved on. Like, that's the whole thing here. Have fun with it. And the more you can make mistakes, that's why I didn't want to make another call today. It was because I'm like, I can't top that.
Yeah.
I can't top that one.
Like, let's just leave it at that.
It's all downhill. Yeah. So with that, just be willing to make mistakes, fail forward. And most importantly, as you're taking action and making those mistakes, I think it's important to have somebody to help you. This isn't a sales pitch. This is just me being honest and transparent. When I had questions, the value of going and asking somebody for help that was sitting in the seat that knew what I didn't, that's what I needed.
Yeah.
So if I was just starting right now, getting in the right rooms is just as powerful as taking action. Because once you make that mistake, if you get misguided by somebody that hasn't done what it is you're trying to, you're fucked. So I don't know if I can cuss on YouTube. My bad. Don't cancel me.
It's at the end, so
it's fine.
Know.
But we're
good.
Good. Then fuck. Okay. So no, it's all good. This is exactly what I wanted with the raw, unedited, just go with the flow. And welcome to Agent Outreach Live. This is who I am. This is what I do. I've been doing this strategy for 4 years. I've been in real estate for 8. Real estate is not always rainbows and butterflies, as people could see. And a lot of times it takes hundreds of conversations and hundreds of offers, or in some spaces, hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend to get paid. Don't spend money when you're first starting. Start with this. Literally, the free trial with Batch is like a no-brainer. Let me get that on the screen one more time. You guys, like, seriously, this is like one of the best tools. We use this every single month to pull lists of realtors. Full transparency, we stopped texting, so we're not mass texting anymore. I'm actually doing exactly what I just did on Agent Outreach Live here. I'm using my cell phone. Brandon's using his cell phone. We've had recent talks about putting it back into a CRM and having like one team number. But the point being, it needs to be personalized. So if you're sending mass text with a number that doesn't have the same area code as the place you're texting, if you're not following the new A2P regulations, or if you are also doing things that are spammy or what might trigger, like what Dana was saying, it's not going to be beneficial. So just make sure you're doing all the right stuff. You're taking action, making plenty of mistakes, and then asking for help.
Would you say the same thing with buyers as well? I see a lot of people, blasting these things out instead of building those relationships.
I hate disposition wholesaling. Disposition is my role in my company, but I think disposition wholesaling is the dumbest thing out there. Acquisition wholesalers that are getting deals under contract relying on disposition wholesaler, it's interesting. Find a couple buyers yourself. If your buyer is a disposition wholesaler, fantastic, but find more. If you're going to blast your properties, you might as well get it on everybody's list. That's my philosophy there. blasting deals out direct to seller works better than it does for MLS and agent outreach, but that's specifically so the agents don't get contacted on the deals that are blasted out.
Yes.
Yeah. And we are just about
like literally, right
perfect. Well, guys, this was Agent Outreach Live. Again, we are live in studio with Landry. Flew out for our event. Appreciate you. Looking forward to seeing you guys next month. If you guys have any questions or anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Social media, our school, the Batch community. We will see you guys next time. Peace out.